And today I want to talk to you about our continuous vacuum tumbler. These are great machines for adding value to any processing needs. It does a couple of different things. Number one, it naturally tenderizes the meat. So what happens when you pull vacuum on any type of protein? Let's say a pork loin, for example. That pork loin is made up of connective tissue. That connective tissue is what makes meat tough. So a lot of times we mechanically marinate by cutting it in slices, using a marinating hammer, or we might run it through some sort of a tenderizer. But a more natural way of doing that is through vacuum. So what vacuum does is it pulls that connective tissue apart from that protein, from that pork loin or that beef loin or whatever it is. It allows the marinade to penetrate, and then by bringing the air back into the tank, it closes that connective tissue and it holds that marinade inside. And then we go ahead and we pull a second vacuum. The second time it's going to even open up that connective tissue even more the second time and allow even more marinade. And then we close those connective tissues again and we allow the product to rest. And depending on the thickness or the density of the product is determined by how many times we're going to open and close that particular muscle. I equate that very much to like your heart pumping. So you're pumping in blood, you're pumping out blood, you're pumping in blood, you're pumping out blood. So it's more massaging type of a method. Okay? So the way that you would load the product, on this side we have a bracket to hold the lid. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to load the product. Once the product is loaded, we'll take our lid, lock it back in place, and now we're ready to run the machine. Okay, so we've loaded our product. We're going to come over here. Right now we have this set up at 1 minute for vacuum for demonstration purposes, 1 minute for rest, and we're going to do that cycle twice. So the first thing we do is we turn on our vacuum pump. Next we turn on our mixing drum. Make sure you push your reset button and then start. What you can hear is you can hear the actual air evacuating out. The vacuum pump is very quiet and it's pulling that air out of that tank. The more full your tank is, the shorter the vacuum time to be able to reach its ultimate. Now this is going to run for 1 minute. What it's doing right now is it's opening that connective tissue, okay, and starting to allow that marinade to penetrate. As it's tumbling, what it's doing is it's giving you that same feeling as a mechanical type tenderizer where you would use a hammer, because the product is raising up and dropping down. So that thumping motion, that rolling motion is also tenderizing the product. At the end of the 1 minute cycle, what we're going to hear in the rest cycle, now what we hear is the air is coming back into the tank. The connective tissue is starting to close on the product, and it's going to hold that marinade in for a minute. At the end of a minute, then we're going to hear the vacuum start again, the machine starts to tumble, and that connective tissue starts to open once again to allow even more marinade to penetrate. You have a couple of different features on this control panel. So you have your vacuum indicator here. You have up to 10 different programs, and you can determine your vacuum time, tumbling time, your rest time, and then the system automatically calculates your total time. Now we're on our second cycle. You can hear it starting to vacuum. Again, the connective tissue now is starting to open again and allow more marinade to penetrate. The product is tumbling. It's naturally mechanically tenderizing, and the marinade is going inside of the product. This will continue on for another minute. and then it'll go back into its rest cycle. You can change the speed of the barrel so that if you're working with a very tender product, like I was saying before, with chicken breasts, fish fillets, boneless thighs, you might want to just turn the barrel very, very slowly so it doesn't damage the product. If you're using a larger, more dense product, then you might want to turn the tumbler faster. Again, we've got air coming back into the tank, closing that connective tissue, holding that marinade inside. Once all the air is back into the tank, we shut our vacuum pump off, our mixing pump off, and then, as you can see, our door, if we opened our door, the product would just fall right out. So what we come over here is to our jog, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to lift that up. Now we're going to come over, open up our door. We're going to put our buggy underneath. We're going to push our down jog, and then we're going to start unloading the product. Very, very simple project. Now our product has all been dumped. We can jog back and forth if we want, just to get the remaining product out, raise the product out, raise the tub back up again, and we're ready to load our next batch. A couple other features that we have on this machine. Number one, most important, is our emergency stop. If at any time you get into a panic or need to stop the machine immediately, there's two ways you can do it. One, hit the emergency button, the light comes on. Okay, before you can start the machine, you need to rotate it and lift that back up. The other thing you can do is you can stop the cycle with this button. All right, as soon as you stop this, the air will come back into the tank and allow you to open up the door. Okay? You have barrel speed here, your reset button, and then we're going to come around to the side and I'll show you all the parts inside, the filters and the pumps and things like that. The other safety feature that we have is we have a safety mirror here with a sensor, so that if your operator is coming in too close, or as an example, they have a white frock on and they're too close to the tank, it won't allow the tumbler to tumble. Okay, so you cannot break this light curtain. So that's another safety feature. Okay, so we're going to come over to the side of the machine here and we're going to show you what's inside. We have two locks. Panel lifts right off. Inside here we have our electrical control panel. You notice that it's flanged here, so that if by chance any water did get inside, the water would come in and just run right off and wouldn't go into your electrical box. You can see how clean the electrical is. Over here, we have our gear motor and our chain drive. Down here, we have our vacuum pump. And most importantly, we have our water trap. So if by chance water or brine or marinade got up inside of that pickup tube and came through the tumbler, the marinade would go into this water trap before it would go into your pump to protect your pump. It's important every night, as part of the daily maintenance, is you remove that water trap, rinse it out, and then replace it. For cleaning of this particular machine, you have to remove that inner snorkel. The easy way to do that is you have a pin here, you lift this pin up, this coupler comes right off. So then we'll come around to the tank. Inside is the pickup tube. That easily slides right out. And now the barrel can be totally rinsed out. The pickup tube inside can be totally rinsed out and sanitized. And then after you're done, you're gonna slide the tube back in. And the key is to make sure that this is up at the top. Okay, if this is not up at the top and it's down here or down on the bottom, it's gonna suck up brine. So it's critical that this pickup tube is at the top. Then we can come over here, place our coupler back on, put our pin in place, and we're ready to go.